Wade. He is the managing partner of Crypto World. Crypto World is the first brick and mortar crypto store and had its grand opening on August 24th last year. Crypto World is focused on educating the public and being a resource as a marketplace for everything crypto. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. All right, while Scott is working on that, so I want to say thank you for having me here today. A little bit about me. I'm not from St. Charles. I'm a transplant, like a lot of folks, right? So my wife is from St. Charles. So I have been here since, I got two clickers I'm working on here. So I've been here since 2009. And my wife was born and raised in St. Charles over in the historical side. So we decided to get a house in St. Charles, 2 doors down from where she grew up. And so we have her parents that live 2 doors down. They decided that it wasn't close enough, so when the house next door opened up, they moved down. So everybody loves Jeff, right? So I'm also a board member of the Asian American Chamber of Commerce, St. Louis. I was the vice president the last 2 years. And as far as in crypto, I've been involved in the crypto space since 2017. So a little disclaimer, right? So everything here I talk about is just for, it's no investment advice or anything, right? So you guys read the rules and let it. Okay, so next is Crypto World. So Crypto World is, we opened up Crypto World August 24th of last year. And the reason we opened this store up is because we used to have a brick and mortar mask store there. We knew it was going to be temporary. We were helping out with COVID. We knew the owners of the complex. So we knew that we had to convert the store into something else. And crypto has been a passion for myself and also my team. So if you don't know where, so we're next door to Mario's Donuts, if you guys know where that is. So I've gained probably 20 pounds since I've been in that location. So the big question is, what do we do, right? So I don't know, anybody here own any crypto or at least been involved? All right, we got a few people. So for you guys to understand what we do, you probably need to understand a little bit about the space. So this is in the last few weeks, Warren Buffett just invested $1 billion into a Bitcoin-friendly bank. Elon Musk owns over $2 billion of Bitcoin. Jack Dorsey from St. Louis, he changed his company from Square to Block, which is short for, well, we think, it's short for blockchain technology. We also have Facebook. They basically changed their name to Meta for Metaverse. Microsoft just basically bought Activision, and they're developing their own Metaverse. So they spent $67 billion on this. We also have Blackrock. I don't know if anybody has heard of Blackrock, but they're the largest investment group in the world. They probably manage about $10 trillion of assets. A lot of it is with Saudi Arabia, the prince, and so forth. But they're now allowing crypto for their clients. Gamestop is turning all their stores into NFT stores, which I'll talk a little bit about NFTs. Also with Binance, they put in a stake. Binance is an exchange. They put in a stake for Forbes magazine. FTX, so they are an exchange here in the US that changed the Miami Heat, or they bought the rights for the Miami Heat arena for $135 million. And then also the Staples Center is now called Crypto.com Center, so that's where the Lakers play. Accounting, one of the biggest accounting firms, they basically just put Bitcoin and Ethereum in their balance sheet. And also US Bank now offers custody solutions for Bitcoin. So we're talking about some pretty big names here. We got Jack Dorsey, we got Warren Buffett, we have Facebook with Zuckerberg. So a lot of big names are getting into the space. I don't know if you guys see the Super Bowl ad?
Yes.
So Coinbase spent close to $14 million on their Super Bowl ad, and it basically crashed their whole system. So they weren't expecting as many people to put their the QR code and download the app. But now Coinbase is the #2 downloaded app for all of Apple. So when cell phones came out, in a 10-year since cell phones came out, it grew about 53% year over year as far as an adoption of technology. From 1993 to 2003, internet grew at a 63% year over year rate. Since 2011 to 2021, crypto has grown annually at 113% year over year. And it's slated to have close to 5 billion people involved in the crypto space by 2025. So imagine what we do with the internet today and how we can't live without it. My kids are on their tablet like probably 18 hours a day. It bugs me. But imagine this technology that everybody's using. We work, we transact, we communicate with the internet, and this technology is doubling that in speed as far as an adoption. So there's so many things about the space, but one of the things that I want to talk about is Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin? So Bitcoin is a virtual or digital currency that is decentralized, immutable, transparent, with no middleman, allowing value to transfer globally, instantly, 24/7. So Bitcoin was created in 2009. You guys remember what happened in 2008? Big financial crash. So Satoshi Nakamoto was the gentleman that invented Bitcoin. Nobody really knows his real name. Everybody thinks it's a surname, but he invented Bitcoin because he was just tired of the government and the banking system. So that's the main reason it was created. And the ones that I highlighted are basically these terms I want you guys to kind of get to know, because it's something that's probably the most important. Bitcoin has been around since 2009. It's never been hacked. So something that's never been hacked, and also something that's transparent. So every transaction on the network can be seen on the network. It's also immutable, which means transactions on the ledger cannot be undone. It's decentralized, so there's not a one person or group that controls it. So think about like what's going on today in today's world with the mistrust, with so many different things, with Canada taking over everybody's information and taking over banking and things like that. So this type of technology, which I'm very much very excited about, it's called blockchain technology. And just imagine, I'm going to go through this, talk a little bit about the blockchain, but imagine taking these 4 things and not just utilizing it for the currency aspect. Imagine taking this technology and putting it in everything that we do with not just banking, but with supply chain, with voting, with the music industry. There's so many things that this technology can do, because it's something that can basically, I don't know, if you guys with Experian, your credit score got hacked. Imagine your credit score being on the blockchain. It cannot be hacked, never been hacked. You've heard of things being hacked like the exchange or the wallets, things like that happen, but as far as an actual network, this has never been hacked. It uses cryptography technology, which is something that hackers are trying to do all the time, is to hack it, but it's never been hacked. So anybody sent like an international wire lately? Why does it take like 2 to 5 days to send a wire? And here's a graph that I found. It goes through 1, 2, 3, 4 banks at least to get from point A to point B, and every bank takes a small cut. And you know, it's one of these frustrations as a business owner, especially when you're you know, sending a wire overseas, that it's almost like antiquated system on how we're sending international wires. And this is kind of in the US how things are done. You send funds to your bank, and then there's a central authority, they send it to their bank, and then the receiver gets it. But if you look on the bottom, this is how crypto works. It's peer-to-peer. So there's nobody in the middle that it has to go through, which then saves on costs and also saves on time. So how does the Bitcoin network, how does it work? So this is where miners come in. Because with Bitcoin, there's not a central authority, it's decentralized. All these miners that people are putting up, we have miners in the store, we have miners that customers are buying, but the miners, that's a picture of a miner, it's not the size of a computer, but they basically validate all the transactions. So there's millions of miners all over the world that are validating the transaction. So if I were to give Scott $100 worth of Bitcoin, basically those miners would validate that I have the money in my wallet and it's going to his wallet, and then it tells the whole network to update their wallet. And with blockchain technology, once it's in the network, it can't be erased. So nobody can go in there and say, oh, I gave you $50 of Bitcoin, not $100 of Bitcoin. So it would take a huge, somebody would have to control 51% of the whole entire network, and the cost for doing that would be in the trillions because there's so many Bitcoin miners out there. And with all these computers that are up that are mining for Bitcoin, there's a reward for the miners. They get a small piece of what's being created. And with Bitcoin, there's only 21 million Bitcoins that can ever be created. And the interesting part about that is it doesn't matter if you are the president of China, the president of Russia, Warren Buffett, doesn't matter who you are. You cannot change that number. And you're seeing the rise of Bitcoin right now, and I'll talk a little bit about that because of what's going on with the economy. We're printing dollars, right? So inflation is a big thing that folks are talking about. So how is it also helping to solve some problems? So I don't know if you guys saw this in the news, but this is Mayor Stewart out of St. Louis. He went viral all over the world because he is giving the residents of I think Cool Valley, Missouri, $1,000 or $1,500 per person. And with that, what he's trying to do is educate the people of his community about blockchain technology and about crypto. And there's some caveat with that. I think with Jason here, you have to hold the Bitcoin for at least 4 to 5 years. You have to learn about crypto and Bitcoin, and you also have to stay out of jail. So Bitcoin is roughly about $44,000 today. It's estimated that in 5 years, Bitcoin can be about $1 million per coin. In the next 10 years, it's estimated it'll be about $10 million per coin. So that's not financial advice. You know, that's just what they have this thing called stock to flow model. It's been pretty accurate the last 10 years. And the main reason is because there's a limited finite amount of Bitcoins. You can't print anymore, you can't make anymore. And with inflation, it's something that's a perfect hedge against it. So El Salvador was the first country to make Bitcoin the legal tender. So a little story about El Salvador. It took them 30 years to get 1.4 million people bankable. In 30 days, as soon as they released Bitcoin as their legal tender, they had 4 million people bankable. And the reason is because with crypto, all you need is your phone. Doesn't matter if you're making $1,000 a year or $100,000 a year. Most people have a cell phone. So also with El Salvador, they saved $400 million in remittance fees. Third world countries people usually leave third world countries, they work in places like the US, and what do? They send money back to their family, and usually Western Union MoneyGrams, they take a certain percentage of that. They take anywhere from 5 to 15%. So last year alone, they spent $400 million on remittance fees. So imagine this technology that's pennies, that now $400 million is kept in that country, how it can change lives and how they can put that into something else. Worldwide, 1.7 billion people have no access to banks. I don't know if you go in the inner cities, but the main issue with inner cities is there's not very many banks in the inner cities. So 14.1 million Americans are unbanked here in the US, which is a crazy idea, right? So with this technology, it allows you to be bankable because all you need is your cell phone. So I talked a little bit about inflation. Last year, if you didn't make over 7% on your investment, you lost money. Everything going on, the government printing money, more money. So it's definitely a huge issue right now with government. And it's slated this year, we're looking at about 10% inflation. So one of the questions that I get is crypto, and is it only like a method of transferring funds from one person to another? So these are the top 10 coins right now, or top 11. It's hard to see, but Bitcoin is number one. It has close to $1 billion in market cap. Ethereum is number two. And basically, there's over 10,000 different coins out there. And a lot of these coins are probably something that isn't gonna last in the long run. So similar to the .com days, right? There were so many .com companies that opened up, and you saw them on Super Bowl ads, similar with what was going on this past Super Bowl. But there's only a few handful that I would recommend, but there are technologies within them that have certain utilities, and I'll give you some example. So Bitcoin is used more for digital gold, right? So if you were to transfer $1 billion worth of gold from here to Japan, how much time, money, security, gas, plane would it take to get from here to Japan? Probably take a lot, probably I would say $20 million to be able to do that. With Bitcoin, you can transfer that from here to Japan within minutes, and it'll cost you pennies. $1 billion transferred instantaneously. Litecoin is another coin. It's more of called a digital silver, so it's similar to Bitcoin. We also have Ethereum, which I'm very, very bullish about. So imagine when you're building like tall buildings, you need steel to build those buildings, right? So Ethereum is that steel to be able to build different apps that are built on top of the technology. You've seen like NFTs, that's a big thing that's being talked about. You need Ethereum gas fees to be able to mint what's called NFTs. And there are other layer 2 programs that are being built on top of Ethereum. Betacoin is another coin that I like. They're a video streaming. Basically, it's on the blockchain, so it allows you to basically control your own data within the system. There's another company called VeChain, which I really like. They're more in the supply chain side. So they're using supply chain, or using blockchain for the supply chain. Decentralized sandbox. Have you guys heard of Metaverse? Facebook is spending tens of billions of dollars on the Metaverse. So imagine, putting on your, I don't know, anybody seen like Ready Player One? Yeah, so imagine putting on these goggles and being able to travel to Paris, France, and walk into a Louis Vuitton purse and actually seeing, feeling, touching, and then picking out a purse and it being delivered to your home. So there are so many different things. Now we're working remote. A lot of folks are working remote, but being able to, work from your own home and also be able to see folks and also see and touch and feel things. So That is something that within the next 5 to 10 years is going to be huge. It's already, like I said, Facebook has put, I would say, $10 to $12 billion into this space. So I like this right here. You know, with right now we're a lot of the gamers are playing digital games. There's even pay to play, right? There's things like that kids are playing, and they can earn money by playing games. And their information is on the blockchain, so it can't be changed or taken away. With music, we've digitized music so we can basically share that music worldwide. Right now, music is on our iPhones. We've digitized books, right? So we can now educate the whole world. We've digitized, videos, so we can basically have everybody. Netflix is a big thing, but the one thing that we haven't digitized is gold. Right now, if I'm to pay somebody a portion of the gold, it can't be done. I can't just take it. I can, I guess, just try to piece by piece a piece of gold. Where Bitcoin, you can do that. One question I get is all this mining stuff bad for the environment? So the worldwide power consumption is 236,000 terawatts. So power used to run the entire Bitcoin network is 200 terawatts. So Bitcoin mining takes up 0.001% of worldwide consumption. So just the United States alone, just having your devices left on standby mode takes up 1,000 terawatts. Your televisions, your computers, your microwaves, your dishwashers. Plus around 75% of the Bitcoin miners today are using renewable sources for mining. You have, like I said, El Salvador, they're mining out of a volcano. So they're using volcano renewable resources to be able to mine for Bitcoin. And they're using those resources to be able to pay for the taxes for the local government. They're also, in Miami, they're creating what's called a city coin, which has paid roughly about $20 million back to the city of Miami to pay for taxes. The mayor of New York is developing a city coin to be able to help offset some of those taxes. So think about the power that's being used, what it's being used for. So Bitcoin is the fastest, cheapest, and the most secure way of storing and sending value ever. If you would have bought Bitcoin, 10 years ago? $1,000 worth of Bitcoin 10 years ago is now worth $1.3 billion. So it's also an asset that's grown much faster than anything in history. So the current global banking system uses well over 100 terawatts of power annually as it is. And also, like during Christmas, you guys probably, your lights there use the entire nation of El Salvador for the year. So that's just some stats. One thing too, are criminals using Bitcoin? So less than 1% of Bitcoin transactions are used for illegal activity. In fact, if you are a criminal, Bitcoin is not the coin you want to use. The main reason is because it's on the blockchain. The FBI can see the transaction. So if they see a transaction of $1 million plus, they may not know who the wallet holders are, but they're gonna investigate, and they have resources to be able to do that. So as far as in using Bitcoin as for criminal activity, it's not the smartest thing to do. So NFTs, I'm very, very, very bullish on NFTs, and I think that it's something that it's going to change a lot of things it's just the amazing technology. So NFTs is non-fungible tokens, and it's basically digitizing a piece of property that is guaranteed one of a kind. So, you know, some of them you see are like funny characters, right? But, let me see. But I want to give a short example. If I was somebody that authenticates like basketball cards, and somebody came to me and said, "Hey, Jeff, I have Michael Jordan's rookie card signed. Can you like authenticate it and just sign off on it saying it's real?" And I look at the card and I say, "This thing isn't real. I can't sign off on it." But if they say, "Hey, I'll give you 50 grand, would you sign off on it?" 9 out of 10 people here would probably sign off on that because 50 grand is a lot of money. So that is how our society works today. With enough money, with enough power, you can make things happen that aren't real. And this is why blockchain is so exciting and NFTs are so exciting, because with NFTs, you can't do that. With the blockchain technology, you can't do that. So there's somebody that works for Disney that lives in Troy, Illinois, that came to our store. He's not a famous, but he's a talented artist. So he made this mural that was an amazing hand-painted mural. And he said to me, "Hey, I want to digitize this art piece. I want to sell it as an NFT." So an NFT is making almost like a DNA of that piece. So it validates and authenticates that it's his work. So we ended up doing it for him pro bono. And we were testing it ourselves. So we put it on it's called OpenSea, which is the eBay for selling NFTs. We set up the NFT as a auction format. In 1 week, NFT sold for 100 ETHs. And if you don't know what 100 ETH is, 1 ETH is $4,000. So it sold for $400,000, this art piece on the NFT platform. So, of course, he was very excited about that, and we were too for him. But the most exciting part about this is 2 weeks later, he calls us and says, "Hey, Jeff, I'm supposed to have 100 ETHs in my digital wallet, but I have 120 ETHs. There's like $80,000 more than I was supposed to get." We went back on the blockchain and did some research. The person who bought it ended up reselling that original work. And how we designed the NFT, 10% goes back to the creator for eternity. So imagine if the Mona Lisa was on an NFT 1,000 years ago. Imagine kids today that are in college that maybe are nobody, right? Like they're somebody that can now make money on their image. Imagine if they NFT'd themselves when they were in grade school, high school, college, and they become the next LeBron James. Somebody's gonna want to buy that NFT for a ton of money because it's authenticated, it's theirs. And you know, like with our business, Crypto World, we're creating NFTs for Crypto World because our goal is to create 500 stores nationwide. And if we have an NFT for each location, and then it becomes tradable, we get 10% the store gets 10% for life if that becomes tradable. So imagine this technology that can be used for athletes. I'm talking to, trying to get a hold of the MLS soccer team here in St. Louis. Imagine if we NFT those tickets at the very first opening day. They can now have those tickets resold down in the NFT marketplace for eternity, like the MLS team would have 10% of every time it gets resold. So the potential is endless. Now we're also talking about NFTing your college diplomas or high school diplomas. So when you're hiring somebody, how do you know that person actually went to WashU? Unless you have the HR company that can go and do the research. You don't really know if they went to high school or not, right? So imagine now if we put if WashU and the high school puts that college degree or high school degree on the blockchain where you can't cheat or lie, it's authenticated. So now things like that are basically transforming the things that we do. So there are other terms, and I can talk here all day. But other terms, I know I talked a little about Metaverse, but staking is a pretty big thing. What that is so for folks that that purchase proof of stake, which is like Ethereum, Cardano, Theta is one, Divi is one. So there's many coins that are called proof of stake. And I would compare it to if you go to your bank and they give you a CD, give it 18 months for X amount of money and you get, I don't know what the rate is, probably 1%, 2%, I don't know what the rate is. But the bank uses that to, do more loans, right? So staking is a similar concept. So if I own Ethereum, I own Cardano, I own these coins, and I'm holding because it's going to appreciate over time. I can either put it in my own wallet and keep it secure, or I can let it work and put it back in the network. And the average staking rewards are anywhere from 5 to 10%. So those are just options that people have. That's what staking is. All right, so what do we do? I know we've talked a little bit about it. I'm hoping that I got you guys at least the basics, right? Somebody in our table was like, I don't know anything about crypto. And I said, well, they sent the dumbest guy in my team to try to explain it. So I'm basically trying to get you guys to understand from my end, because it took me a while to really understand it. I don't think we have video, but this is Crypto World, and we are located off Muegge Road, take Cave Springs, and right next to Mario's Donuts and that little plaza right there. And our focus is education. So the back half of the room is educating folks, anything from basics to mining to learning about NFTs, to staking, to security aspect. We have weekly classes that we do, crypto over coffee every Tuesday morning. We had somebody talk about rolling over an IRA into a crypto fund, or crypto taxes. So there's so many different topics that we talk about. We do 3D printing there, just crypto items. We have a Bitcoin ATM. So anything crypto is really what we do at our location. And our goals, we're opening up a second location in Edwardsville, Illinois, probably in April or May. But my goal is to open up about 500 locations in the next 3 to 5 years. So our core business model is going to be on the staking side. Because people that come into our store, they either have crypto or they want to get into it. And so if you have crypto and you want to stake it, or you're already currently staking it, why wouldn't you stake it with Crypto World, right? Because we're local to you. We have free events that we do all the time. You can talk to us. We're a real person instead of a computer that you just meet online. So that is what our business model is. And like I was saying, our mission is to help educate the community on crypto and be the rising tide to lift the whole crypto industry. We also created a 501c3. We filed that because there are so many different grants out there that's available for education. And we're hoping that the classes that we offer will eventually be free, so we can have the foundation pay for the classes. So that's our goal. The average class is around $70, and it's 2 hours. And like I said, we talk about a little bit of everything. We also do one-to-one consultation. So if you have an issue, we had somebody come in that was just didn't know how to move some funds from one wallet to another, and they had a significant amount of money, and they didn't want to screw up, right? So we were able to sit with them, help them do that. Or if we had one person that called in, kind of a scary story. He was somebody that had no clue on crypto, and one of his friends told him, hey, you should buy this crypto called Matic. And he said, okay, I'll do it. So he spent $15,000 on Matic. Well, Matic ended up being one of the coins that went crazy. His $15,000 turned into $700,000 in a year. And he wanted to move that 700K into a USD or something a little safer like Bitcoin. He saw our store, looked at it, and said, oh, I'll call them to do a one-to-one consultation. What ended up happening is he went home, he went on Reddit, asked somebody how to do it. That person ended up giving him directions on how to send it to his other wallet. So he lost $700,000 because he didn't take the minute to stop by our store. And so things like that we can help avoid. We do a lot of education. We do group sessions. We do have financial advisors in different groups who are wanting us to speak in front of them just to help educate. We also last week passed introduced the first crypto legislation. So I don't know if you guys know Phil Cristofanelli. He's a St. Charles rep, but we've been working with him to help pass the first crypto bill, which basically allows Missouri to adopt Bitcoin technology, right? And as you guys heard, this is very exciting stuff. It's not just about the currency side, it's the things that can be done with it. So here's Phil. Also, we have the 4th Congressional District candidate, Tyler Burks. He's favored to win. He's out of Columbia. He's favored to win the seat. So House Bill 2672 is something that we helped introduce, and they're all very, very excited about helping us pass this bill. Bitcoin Magazine has millions and millions of followers, so they tweeted out this bill because it's something that you guys don't understand here in this room how big of an event this is for the state of Missouri. But this was a really big event for the state of Missouri to be able to help pass this. So that happened just last week. And I was telling you folks, our business model is we do education, we sell mining equipment to be able to mine. We also are working on a hosted solution. So if you do want to mine, but you don't have the place, you don't want your wife getting mad that you have this loud machine in your basement. We're working on a hosted solution, so that way you buy the machines and we'll have a facility for you to be able to put it. And the staking pools is a focus of ours. So hopefully once we have multiple locations, we'll have a bunch of staking pools for folks to be able to stake with us. And so we were asked by News Talk STL, crypto is a very hot topic right now. So News Talk STL wants us to talk once a week. And right now we are talking every Sunday at 12:30. So if football is over, so if you want to listen about crypto, you can just go on there and listen to us. 101.9 and 94.1 if you go to the stations. Like I said, we have crypto over coffee every Tuesdays, and also Bitcoin over beer, 3rd Thursday of every month. This Thursday we're talking about Metaverse. It's a free event. Who do we have that's sponsoring that event? Beer Sauce is sponsoring that event, so they'll be there to give out some free beer. Normally it's the 3rd Thursday of every month, but the following Thursday we have an event at the T-Rex building. It's also Bitcoin over beer, but we're talking about NFTs, which is a really, really hot topic. And normally everything's covered. We have food and drink. So if you guys are interested in this space, or you know somebody that's interested, send them over to one of our events. And this is basically, my email address, or the phone number for our store, and I'll take any questions if anybody has any questions right now. Yes.
Okay, I'll finish this. Okay, so it's a couple part, okay?
Okay.
This digitized version of this Disney picture, okay? So there is a physical version of the picture, and then the digitized. Where is the digitized going? Is it like in the Metaverse in somebody's living room?
No, it's basically just added to the blockchain. So it's something that that basically on a wallet, right? So everything is digitized. So it's the digital DNA of it is. I know it's hard to comprehend. It's not tangible. But just think of it as that digital version that's added into somebody's wallet that then can be historically traced back, right? So if you bought it and then somebody else bought it, they can go back to the original person that created that piece of work, and they can do their own research. You know, so it's one of these things that I don't, hopefully that answers your question.
No,
It's
definitely.
yeah.
Are there any limitations on daily transaction amounts? Like there is in the regular banking industry?
No, there's no
There's no
no,
limits.
no
So
limitations.
there's no safeguard other than that the government can look to see what's going on.
Yeah, anybody can see the transaction. So it's just you just don't know who the wallet holders are.
So if I was a drug dealer, now
Yeah.
that I am, I would be able to buy as much as I wanted to buy. I
Yes.
bought too much over.
Right. Yeah.
I would be able to buy as much as I want and nobody could do it.
Yes, but it causes red flags, right? Like, it definitely, if you don't think the government's watching, they're watching. And they have ways to be able to figure out who those wallets are. Yes?
Who is investing in NFTs?
Who isn't, as far as in like what group or individuals or,
Yeah, individuals.
you know, Tom Brady has created his own NFTs. Now he's selling his video cam footage as an NFT.
But who's buying that?
Well, it's like a collector's item. Like who's buying?
Right, but if you're not Tom Brady, if you're,
Well, and people are fans of Tom Brady, so they're buying it, right? So they're going on the platform to
so you
buy
have to
it.
get a fan base in order to generate.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
What you said right there.
Yeah. So I mean, you do have to have. I wouldn't have to say necessarily like a fan base. You just have to, like Crypto World. We don't right now. We don't have a fan base. We're creating, you know, NFTs. It's one of those things that could be right. So it's not about the present. It's more the future. What it could be worth.
Gotcha.
Yes, that.
What happened to the guy that only had one more try on his passport?
One more what?
The guy who couldn't remember his password.
He had 250
Um,
million and
He lost it.
he left it.
So I mean, it's one of these things that you need, you know, the positives of being decentralized is right. You keep things to yourself and not worry about the central authority. But if you misplace your passcodes, that's really how it happened with me. How I got started is because I used to play online poker back in the day. And they shut down online poker, so the only way to get into it was to buy Bitcoin and use that to be able to play. Well, I bought like 4 Bitcoins at the time, $200 a piece, and I quickly realized that the people that are playing online are the professionals and not the guys that are, you know, just doing it for fun. So I lost 3 out of the 4 Bitcoins, right? So I shut my laptop and I got really upset. I closed it. And I just completely forgot about that one other Bitcoin. Fast forward, a few years later when Bitcoin was worth $20,000, I was talking to my wife and I said, I think I have 1 Bitcoin in my computer from 4 years ago. She got really excited, right? She's like, oh, I can buy a purse and do a lot of things with that, go to Disney with the kids. And so got really excited. Well, we open up the laptop, we can see the Bitcoin wallet, but I forgot the passcodes. So I have the most expensive laptop that I'll never ever throw away. That's hanging in my room that I just cannot remember for the life of me what the passcode is. So when Bitcoin is worth $1 million or $10 million per coin, it's gonna be the most expensive laptop ever, right? So, and they say about 4 million Bitcoins of the 18 million that's out there is lost. So that's something that's I'm one of the 4 million. Yeah.
There's been a lot of Bitcoin that's been confiscated by the FBI, and so they have no idea what to do with it. And so when you talk about missing Bitcoins, there are billions that our government has that's been used for illegal purposes that they can't do anything. Just sit there and get more.
Yeah, and there was some just in the news last week how a couple out of New York had $3.6 billion worth of Bitcoin that was taken from them from the government because they were involved in the hack about 3 or 4 years ago with Bitfinex. But some so the government can't find you, right? And the mistake that they did, which if you get into crypto, you get into putting your Bitcoin in a wallet, don't ever take a picture of it and put it in your email, because that's how they were able to trace, you know, this wallet that had $3.6 billion. Write it down, write your keys down, put it in a safe. So that's free advice for you guys. Yes?
Two of the biggest downside risks you hear about are regulation, and then I'm also curious your thoughts on quantum computers and that cryptography that comes with that.
Yeah, so as far as regulations, the government is there was some regulation yesterday that they were passing that now the stable coins, as long as they're attached one-to-one, that they're going to make that legal, right? So there's new regulations that will be coming, and I personally think that's a good thing for this community and for the space. And as far as, what was the second question? Quantum computers. Yeah, I mean, people talk about quantum computers, and I think that the whole network is going to innovate also with quantum computing. So they're going to be able to find ways to keep it as secure. Yes?
So with NFTs, they talk about, do you actually own the treasure, or do you own the treasure map, which is the hyperlink? When do you think blockchain will be able to actually host the treasure and move the treasure as opposed to just the treasure map to the NFT?
I think that's going to be coming pretty soon, right? This space is developing very quickly, very rapidly, and as I have, you know, on the presentation, we have folks that, you know, with Dorsey and also with IBM and Microsoft and so forth that are trying to get involved in this space. So it's gonna come, right? So I just, you know, want you guys to know that even though you're resistant to it, it's gonna come. Like it's you can either decide to learn about it, or you can, you know, similar to the internet. Internet, a lot of folks are kind of like, oh, this isn't gonna do anything. But look at it today and how we just can't do anything without it. Yes?
Any feedback on nodes as a service?
Nodes
As a service.
as a service. In what?
Ethereum, if you're purchasing Ethereum nodes, great.
Well, that's what we're building at our stores. Is that we're going to create nodes to be able to stake. We have the scientific guys here that are at the table. You could probably have them ask them the question. We actually we have. Like I said, we're expanding pretty quickly. We were only open since August 24th. We have Paul here from California. He's looking to, him and his team are looking to open up, I think 5 to 10 locations. So he's visiting. Paul, you wanna wave? So we also had a group out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin that flew in to see what we were all about. So, you know, what we're doing here in St. Charles is a pretty big deal. I know you guys are kind of like, oh yeah, store, but it is in the community. It's pretty big what we're doing. And to say that we all started in this community, I think is great.